You're listening to the Business Leadership Podcast with Edwin Frondoso.
I love blockchain. I love Bitcoin mining. Guess what? We only have 21 million Bitcoin that can be mined, and right now we only have 1.5 million left. So what are we going to do after this? My vision is to build a $1 billion company. I think I can achieve this hopefully in the next 5 years.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, Biz Leader. Welcome to another episode of the Business Leadership Podcast. I'm Edwin Frondoso, and today we are featuring a very special episode from the Future Narrator miniseries, which was recorded live at the Collision Conference in Toronto, Canada. In this miniseries, we explore the future of leadership, innovation, and storytelling with visionary leaders who are not just designing products, but are creating entirely new worlds and markets. Joining me is Dr. Paul Newton, and together we are speaking with Emma Todd, the CEO of MMH Technology Group, and her journey from banking to blockchain consulting and Bitcoin mining is nothing short of remarkable. She's faced challenges from banks and governments, but continues to push forward with innovation solutions like methane gas for Bitcoin mining. In our conversation, Emma shares the importance of a strategic plan, environmental responsibility, and her vision of creating a $1 billion company while promoting diversity and inclusion in tech. Her resilience and long-term vision for blockchain technology and her team are truly inspiring. So without further ado, here we go. We're now speaking with Emma Todd, CEO of MMH Technology Group. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm super excited to have you and sit down and have this conversation. I guess, Emma, just jumping right in, I'd love it if you could share what problem is MMH Technology Group solving for the tech and blockchain industry?
I have two companies, and one of them does consulting. It is consulting for blockchain companies. And when I first started, it was back in 2016. I came from banking, and I met this incredible group of people that were just building things on the blockchain. And they were a little naive. They were like, if we build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, no. You need marketing, my friend, and a strategy. And no, we have a product. I was like, oh, you really need me. And so that's how it started. And from there, I went into Bitcoin mining, and I sell equipment to miners that need them, and I find them sites that are environmentally good for just good and things like that. That's the problems that I'm solving.
Amazing. I love that. And I guess looking at the blockchain or the crypto industry, since you play a lot, it sounds like you have two types of pivotal roles in there is communications for the tech companies or the platforms or the hardwares. We actually had a chat with the Coinbase CEO earlier
Lucas,
today as well.
Isn't he just amazing?
Yeah, Lucas is great. And just thinking about how it democratizes the vision of crypto and stuff. So I'd love it to get from your point of view, especially how you're within the trenches and you're able to talk to many, like what are the major disruptions that you're seeing now when it comes to the industry?
We are trying to disrupt the way financial services work. That's the number one thing. When I first started, I was very naive and thought, oh, it would be really easy. I didn't count on the banks fighting back.
Yeah.
Oh, they're fighting back big time. We also thought we were going to make things a little bit easier. Guess what? The government's fighting back too. Didn't anticipate that. As you get older, you realize if we're looking back, we could have seen this coming and perhaps planned for it a little bit more strategically. But sometimes you just have to keep going. So I tell an example about how in 2022, we had money. We're feeling good about ourselves. $30 million for the year into lobbying in the U.S. We're feeling pretty good, right? 30 million is a lot of money. Yeah, the banking industry puts 30 million per quarter. We're like, okay, we're going to have to depend on goodwill here because we can't do any better than that. And so luckily, like goodwill has been turning the tides towards us. It's favorable now. But yeah, when we realized, oh, this is not really helping as much as we thought, we had to come up with a plan B.
So how is that working out since that, I guess, that naiveness within the industry, I guess really the bright lights in your eye, like how has that shifted now and what are you seeing?
Honestly, I'm a little jaded. Okay, I'm a lot jaded now. I've been in the industry for 8 years.
Yeah.
They tell you that 1 year in blockchain is like 5 years everywhere. Like I have gray hair that I mostly hide.
Yeah.
Now I'm more realistic and now I tend to look at what's happened in other industries that have disrupted that are now more mainstream. Everyone talks about the internet back in 2000. we're looking at that. What happened to them? Like, what lessons did they learn the hard way that we can perhaps learn from them and just not run into a brick wall like we have been.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm curious because as we talk to a range of business leaders, everything from blockchain to SaaS, I'm wondering with these changes and with the promise of crypto, how do you lead like your teams, stakeholders, clients? How do you lead them to overcome those challenges?
Have a plan. I write everything down.
Mhm.
So, I mean, what worked for me in university is what's working for me now. You have a plan. No, figure out what it is that you want.
Yep.
Most people who aren't doing well is because they don't have a plan. They don't really know what they want and they don't have a plan to get there. So figure out, here's where I am, here's what my plan is, how am I going to get there?
Yep.
And then you execute based on that.
So your plan is to get where?
Oh, okay. For my overall company, I want better adoption for blockchain companies, a recognition that we're really doing good things and that we're not the enemy. If it's good for the industry, let's just do it. If it's good for people in the home, let's do it. If it's not, we understand. For mining, we're not the boogeyman. We are really trying to do good things. And let's just all work together. We have one planet. Let's just make the best of it.
So, and what are these good things that are coming because of what you're pushing forward?
Okay, I'll talk about Bitcoin mining. One of the things that we're doing that really make me happy is in the beginning, we discovered mining where everyone's just happy, right? And then we realized, okay, what we're doing isn't necessarily as good for the industry as everyone's telling us, right? So we were like, okay, how can we make it better? We have better equipment now. So equipment is a lot better. Like it mines faster, it's more efficient. And that's really good for the industry. Other things that we've been doing that nobody else is doing, which really gets me going, is that we're mining it, or we're setting up our industries in better countries, better areas where it's just easier and better and more environmentally friendly to mine. What do I mean? Methane gas. So, okay, you know when you're watching a movie and you see those oil rigs and they have that thing in the sun? That's called methane gas. And so we found a way to siphon that off and use that to make electricity to mine Bitcoin. Also, methane gas that we just talked about, a lot of it comes from cattle poo, right? So we found a way to streamline that and use that for Bitcoin mining. Crazy, huh? Nobody else in any other industry is really doing that. We are.
Why aren't they doing that?
I don't know, but I really don't know. But I think it's because the narrative was so bad for us, so we had to find other ways. And then when we looked at the numbers, we realized we're really not that bad. Compared to everything, we're really not that bad. Our emissions is lobbying. We can't fight against. They say one thing, we don't have enough money to circumvent that, but we're trying.
Amazing. Thank you. I'm just curious, what are the biggest challenges that you're facing when it comes to this vision or this future that you're creating as well?
Okay, so one thing I learned being an entrepreneur, and I didn't have anyone to emulate, I just had to learn it myself. You can't stand still. You can't keep doing what you're doing. You have to be like a palm tree during a hurricane. You have to be able to you can't be like an oak tree or else you're going to break. I love this industry. I love blockchain. I love Bitcoin mining. Guess what? It's not going to last forever. We only have 21 million Bitcoin that can be mined. And right now we only have 1.5 million left.
Mhm.
So what are we going to do after this? We're looking into data centers for AI. It's pretty much the same thing. We just need to change up a few things that work for Bitcoin mining but don't work for AI. And that's what we're heading to. And my team sat me down in 2022 and said, listen, it's going to get harder to mine Bitcoin. And so we have a plan. And so we have a really good plan that's working out. We're almost at the latter stage of signing a really amazing deal. And I'm pretty proud of the next steps. So what I've learned from all this is you can't just sit back and go, okay, we're doing well. Life is good. What's going to happen in 3 years? What's going to happen in 5 years? I always worry about my employees. It's like having kids. Like everyone has mortgages, right? Want to make sure everyone gets paid so they can pay their mortgages, things like that. So I'm always thinking 3 to 5 years down the road. How can I plan to make sure that the company's better, that my employees are happier and things like that?
Yeah, so how do you, thinking about your employees and having these challenges in the back of your mind, like how do you continually lead and inspire them to do good work?
What I do isn't for everybody, but if they understand the vision, I can bring them along for the ride. They really get it. So I hired a chief of staff in March, and this poor lady is now in love with the company because through a bit of a mix-up, I went to DC. I said, hey, you come with me. She was in business class for DC. She's like, we all travel business class? I'm like, no. And then we were in Austin last week. The client was paying and we're running late. So she went business class. She's like, I love this. I'm like, no, not all our travel is business class. She's like, this is great. But then she got to meet everybody face to face.
Yeah.
She said, I get why you do what you do. She goes, it's absolutely amazing. The people are nice. They're also helpful. And it's honestly what got me into this is it's the community. It's the community. They didn't care what I looked like, who I was, as long as I could help them. And the community is still there for me to this day. And it's really amazing.
That's great. Talk to me about the community, what you got you in there, the people that are inspired working with you. What is the vision of that future now that you're building?
Okay, for me, I'm doing well. I was trying to be a little more low key because when you are a minority, especially if you're Black, you tend to get attacked a little bit more. So I was like, let me stay a little under the radar, do what I do. But turns out everybody knows who I am now, so I might as well keep going like guns blazing. My vision is to build a $1 billion company. I think I can achieve this hopefully in the next 5 years. Build a $1 billion company, we want to make sure we do good things regarding ESG. We have to work with gas, but how can we mitigate the effects of that? So build a really good company internationally, continue what we're doing, and eventually perhaps an ambassadorship by when I'm 60.
That's amazing. Just digging in, like, you're at this $1 billion company, you have these good investments, everyone's growing. What does your world look like? What does the world of your employees?
Still doing what I'm doing. I think the secret to a good job is to like what you do. I mightn't like what I do every day, all day, but at some point during the day, I'm still happy. I still live downtown Toronto, and I come from banking. And occasionally, I will have to have a meeting at 8 o'clock, and I see everybody walking to work, and it's like drones, right? And I'm just like, that's not me anymore, right? Like last week, I got a little teary-eyed. I did a bell ringing at TMX, and I was like in my Uber going past those people. And I was like, that's not me anymore. And look at me here 8 years later. And I did a video and I was like getting a little teary-eyed. Just like, if you work hard and work smart, working smart is very important. You can realize your dreams.
You want to build a $1 billion company.
Yeah. And building.
And certainly are. Why? What do you want to do with
my $1
building
billion company?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just know that I just know that more women need to be recognized for being smart and doing all these really great things. And I like to set goals for myself. I don't see limits. I just see I want to do this, so I'm going to do it. And so, I decide to do it.
Do you see yourself making things possible for women or for minorities or for underserved communities?
Yeah, I do. So one of the things that's interesting for me, so I'm originally Jamaican and I came to Canada. And I learned things. I'm still learning things to this day. I've been here since I was like 15, 16. And I already came with a sense of self. So I wanted to do something, I just did it, right? But then I learned during the pandemic, good Lord, 3 years ago, someone said to me, it was a Zoom call. They said, Emma, you came here with a sense of self and you had already seen other Black people achieve this. We grew up here and we're not in the history books or anything. And so we didn't know that we could accomplish this. And I was like, oh, it never occurred to me that I couldn't accomplish anything. If I want to do it, I just do it. Once again, I make a plan. I make a plan for everything I do. It makes me happy to make plans. And then you look at, are they executable? Is it worth your time? Do I need to get advice on how to do things? But yeah, every single thing. I've literally hit almost all my milestones, almost all of them. I have one, and I had a meeting with a lady about it yesterday. I want to get to the main stage at Davos, the World Economic Forum. I'm on the secondary and tertiary stages. The catch is to get on the main stage, you got to pay a lot of money, and I don't want to pay. You're like, oh, how much money do you have to pay? Yeah, unless you're like a CEO of one of the Fortune 500 companies, and even then they do pay. You pay $250,000 to be considered, to put in the pool for them to choose who they want. No, that's to put in the pool. So then, but if you want, you're paying a lot more to be guaranteed. And even then, they want you to be part of the Fortune 500, which is just absolutely nuts.
Yeah. So you talk about, mining Bitcoin, but then you also talk about mining and the off-gassing and stuff. How did you link those two?
Oh, when everybody in 2020 was telling us how bad Bitcoin mining was, we had to find something that was better for the environment and things like that. And people were like, methane gas is a really good way to create electricity so that we can mine Bitcoin. How do you get methane gas? Number one, oil. We do like oil, but how could we figured out a way? A gentleman in Alberta actually figured out a way to streamline that gas and then use it for Bitcoin mining. And then somebody else was like, what about for animals? They're the number one reason. That's why everyone's go vegetarian. It's better for the environment because cows a lot of methane gas. And so that's how we were able to somebody worked on it and found a way to do it.
Yeah.
If there's a problem, just give people the right incentive. They'll find a solution.
Emma, again, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
That's it, Biz Leaders. Thanks for joining me on this special episode of the Business Leadership Podcast, part of the Future Narrator miniseries recorded live at the Collision Conference. It was such an amazing conversation with Emma, exploring her journey from banking to blockchain and her innovative vision for the future. Check the show notes in the app for links to all the resources that we discussed to connect with her and to learn more about the Future Narrative Project. And by the way, if you're interested in reading more about Emma and the other amazing business leaders that we profiled at Collision, please join our waitlist for our upcoming book. If you found value in this episode, please subscribe, rate, and share it with the very first person who comes to mind that could benefit, and be grateful from hearing from you. You know, your support helps us grow and empowers us to bring you more great content. So again, thank you for tuning in and just being part of our community. Until next time, have a 100x day.